Hello, guys, and welcome to our week number 5 in the course of Discourse and Text Farms. Hope everybody's doing really fine and willing to continue in our course. As usual, I will start this class by sharing with you a short poem. This time it is a poem by Charles Baudelaire, um, the French poet. And I like this poem for mm, many reasons that I will briefly explain to you once I'm done. But especially, I think it may have to do a lot with the second video that you will watch for this week. That is the one related to figures of speech. Okay? So this poem is called Les promesses d'un visage, las promesas de un rostro. J'aime, ô pâle beauté, tes sourcils surbaissés, douze blanc couleur des ténèbres, tes yeux, quoique très noirs, m'inspirent des pensées qui ne sont pas du tout funèbres. Tes yeux qui sont d'accord avec tes noirs cheveux, avec ta crinière élastique, tes yeux, languissement, me disent, si tu veux, amant de la mise plastique, suivre l'espoir qu'en toi nous avons excité, et tous les goûts que tu professes, tu pourras constater notre véracité, depuis les nombrils jusqu'aux fesses. Tu trouveras au bout de deux beaux seins bien lourds, de larges médailles de bronze, et sous un ventre uni, doux comme des voleurs, bistré comme la peau d'un bronze, une riche poisson qui, vraiment, est la sœur de cette énorme chevelure, souple et frisée, et qui t'égale en épaisseur. Nuit sans étoiles, nuit obscure. Las promesas de un rostro. Amo, belleza pálida, tus cejas rebajadas, de donde fluyen las tinieblas. Tus ojos que, aunque negros, pensamientos me inspiran que no son por completo fúnebres. Tus ojos que combinan con tus cabellos negros y con tu elástica melena. Tus ojos, si tú quieres, lánguidamente dicen, amante de la musa plástica, secundar la esperanza que en ti hemos excitado. Y los gustos que tú profesas, bien podrás comprobar nuestra veracidad desde el ombligo hasta las nalgas. Encontrarás al borde de dos pesados senos, dos anchas medallas de bronce y bajo un vientre prieto, cual terciopelo suave, oscuro, cual la piel de un bonzo, una rica madeja que, en verdad, es la hermana de esta grandiosa cabellera, suelta y rizada y que te iguala en espesor. Noche sin astros, noche oscura. I don't know if you got anything out of it. Now that I think of, I don't remember if you guys have taken French already on the semester that you are. But anyways, if you haven't, maybe a good introduction. Anyways, even when I read the poem in Spanish, maybe at first time it's not really clear, I guess, like, what is this about, right? So, maybe if you want to check it again, let's say that this poem presents a Baudelaire that is going to give some sort of a tour in the body of a woman, since or starting from her hair until her pubic hair, right? Like just he's traveling through all this body space, from her head, her breasts, her comparing her skin, her eyes, until he finally arrives to this very intimate part. What really sort of surprises me, or what I find really attractive, is the words that he uses in order to do this tour. He used very elaborate vocabulary and a lot of different comparisons and analogies, such as the dark of the night, a starless night. He already mentions certain similarities between the color of the nipples of the girl and bronze. A lot of different things. Until in the end, comparing like her hair, the hair on her head is the same. A smooth and splendorous tone of the tone on her pubis. This is sort of a delicate topic. I mean, it's a sexualized one that is erotic poetry is very common. Um, but what really calls my attention is that he's able to say very explicit things without saying it directly, and sort of create a comparison between what some people may think it's too invasive, maybe, in a language that I think that it's pretty nice. Um, there you will find some figures of speech, and later on when we take a look at the second video, probably you identify a couple of them. Um, so sure, literary language is populated by figures of speech. That is going to be a big concern of this course. Well, thanks a lot. We're going to start our topic of today. Last week we covered some generalities about description. We use some instruments in order to, let's say, collect information or adjectives, words, nouns, etc. to later use. We also talk about objective and subjective description, and I have mentioned that today we're going into the subcategories. Yes, this week we were going to cover that. So if you can go to the slide number 48, you are going to find some subcategories according to the theme. Okay, so these are the technical words that we are going to use. So please take them into account. Like from now on, these are the ones that we are going to be employing. So let's start with the first one. The first one is called prosopography. Okay. What kind of description is a prosopography? Well, really simple. Is when you describe everything related to physical appearance. Okay. You will see that here there are like two distributions or two divisions. There are 4 categories or 4 subcategories for people and 2 categories for inanimate objects, right? Nevertheless, I have to say that some experimental descriptions use, for example, prosopography into some objects, but well, let's say that for the sake of this course, we're going to make these divisions. I just want to let you know that maybe in some other cases, especially literary pieces or poetical one, you may find a mixture, okay? But for the course, we're going to manage it in this way. Prosopography is the physical appearance, so you can describe anything from the body, right? So hair, face, expressions, the length, the height, anything from skin color, from scars, from, well, you name it. Whatever you can think of that has to do with body is in there. But as well, accessories or cosmetic, let's say, decorations, such as clothes, some other accessories such as rings, bandanas, hats, all these different things can go over there. So basically, a prosopography is a description that concerns exclusively with the physical appearance. I think that's clear enough, right? Then we have the second one that is called etopeia, right? Please pronounce it correctly. Students always say utopia or Ethiopia. Cut that, okay? It's etopeia. And in this case, we are going to be dealing with moral or sociological description. So we are going to focus in this type of descriptions on the personality, on the attitudes, on the different ways of the behavior, on let's say some aspects that are purely or most of the times are intangible, right? Just verify any vocabulary that you think is useful to describe personalities, actions, behaviors, and that is the one that you will need in order to use an utopia. Um, of course, we're including over here positive, negative, intermediate, like it's not necessarily that it goes in one way or another. And remember that, well, as humans, we normally have or a mixture somehow of positive and negative things. We have good and bad things in the personality. So usually try to be careful and detailed when you are describing these different things, because for sure it's likely that you find opposite features or things like that. Then we go with the third subcategory, that is the portrait. Really simple. Here we're going to find a combination of the previous one, of the former ones that I have just mentioned. So a portrait is a much more comprehensive description in which you are going to include physical appearance, including what I have just mentioned, let's say natural parts of the body, plus accessories, and as well it is going to include, let's say, all the emotional or personality traits. There is no particular order, like in order to do a portrait you don't need to do first one and then the other, or you're allowed to combine a description of something physical with something sociological or moral and then come back to the physical. That's okay. Normally a more systematic way could be like doing one and then the other, but that's not mandatory. Especially on literary pieces, you're going to find a complete combination of these different things. So that's quite simple. Now, this one that comes in here, I don't know why students usually find it difficult to get, or well, probably they think they get it, but then when there's an exercise or something like that, this is the one in which they fail the most. Caricature, right? That is the final category assigned for people. Let me see. I want to see. Yeah, let's see if I have something over here. Just give me a moment. Right. I think that this might do. Give me just a sec. Well, this is a caricature, right? Try to put it as close as possible. This is like a humoristic comic book magazine. And you will see that there is this guy that is more or less anatomically correct, he's proportionate, etc. And then there's a puppet over here, right? And the puppet is like a reproduction of the guy. And he is exaggerated, right? Like, look at him. He has a much bigger mouth. His beard is much more visible. His eyes are huge. The guy is getting a little bit bald on the top, and well, this guy is showing a more prominent forehead over here. Look at the hands of the size of the hands in comparison with the rest of the body. Well, so this is a caricature, right? Like an exaggeration of this guy. Let's take a look at the inside. Oh, find another one in here, for example. Yes, look at this enormous eyebrow. Yeah. His chin is a little bit exaggerated. Look at his size. He most likely, I mean, if this is the reproduction of somebody, maybe he's a short person, so he's exaggerated in the, let's say, the fact that he has a short height, right? Let me see if I can give you another one over here that may be useful for you. I think that's it. Look, the other ones are pretty much similar over here. Oh, well, look at this guy over here, for example, the one in the glasses, right? So maybe his nerdy attributes have been exaggerated, and his teeth. I mean, everything that makes him look a little bit excessive in some of his features. So I gave you this in order to show how is a graphic caricature, right? So the person in real life has more or less a big nose, so he's going to be drawn with a enormous huge nose, or ears, or teeth. I mean, we're magnifying any possible such as fault that the person has. Now, that is graphically, right? So, in a description with words, because here we are not drawing, with words, what we're going to do in caricature is to exaggerate the traits, right? So, instead of saying that his nose is big, so we can say he has a humongous nose, right? Instead of saying that a person has, I don't know, long nails, so you could say, and that individual had very sharp claws, right? Something like that. So we're going to exaggerate the traits by means of description. With which purpose? Usually with two purposes. Number one, mocking the person, like having a humoristic tone. Yes, somehow we're making fun of the person. Or second, criticizing the person somehow. Yes, so by means of this exaggeration, we are going to say that that such person is somebody who wouldn't be likable for one reason or the other. So those are the two main reasons: humoristic purpose and criticizing. Right now, please be careful with this, because every time that I mention this, people get confused. So also every time that somebody says that it has a huge mouth full of sharp teeth and sharp claws and a hairy body, well, you're describing some sort of a werewolf or monster or something like that, right? Let's imagine that description you find it in a horror book. So that is not a caricature. That is a description of this supernatural imaginary creature, right? But at that moment, you're not trying to make it sound fun, or you're not trying to criticize a werewolf. You're just describing this creature that is going to probably kill somebody, right? So always take into account that differentiation, right? Look at the context, and you will see if it is a caricature or not. Hopefully, it is clear enough. Well, for the other part, for the other two, the ones dedicated to the inanimate objects, I think it's really easy. First of all, we have the subcategory of topography, that is the detailed description of places, right? These places may be geographical places such as a mountain or a volcano or a beach or, I don't know, any place, you name it. Something a little bit more specific in terms of delimitations, such as a city, a country, a town, a village, something like that. Or we're dealing with places that are part of an inhabitable place, such as a house. So we can describe the living room or the bedroom or an office, or an RV, or I don't know, even a car, right? Things like that. So you're going to include the description. Of course, in the description, it's likely that you find some other inanimate object. So if I am describing my studio right now here, I can see that there's a computer and there's a black desk and a white HP printer, and I can go on, right? So I'm describing other objects. Then again, I could say certain things related to meteorological conditions, such as if it's hot or if it's stuffy, if it's cold, if it's windy, whatever, right? Again, you can deal with colors, you can deal with shapes. Well, as much as you can describe, it would be better, right? And then later on, we have phrenologies that has to do most likely with processes, right? So remember what you did, for example, with the description of the process that was necessary to make it rain. Yes, so that is a chronology. It has stages, it has steps. One goes after the other, and that's it. Yeah, so for example, a chronology for being able to provide a class for you will be having a preparation, a previous reading of the material, sort of reminding me certain things about the lesson. Later on, preparing my headphones, my computer, making sure that the telephone has enough charge so it doesn't die in the middle of the lesson. Later on, provide the lesson and record it, repeat certain things if necessary. Then I will have to, let's say, transmit my or pass my the files, the video files to my computer, and later on we are going to upload it into YouTube, and finally I will place it into Edmodo with the corresponding instructions, right? So that was a chronology of about, I don't know, 5-6 steps, but it gives us an idea of time, okay? So hopefully these subcategories are clear. It's not big deal. It's no big deal. I think that they are clear enough. As I mentioned, the one that normally confuses people is caricature. Let's see if that happens to you as well. Hope it doesn't. If you have any question, just let me know. So this takes us to the assignment number 1 for this week. Okay. So if you go to the slide, well, first of all, this is going to have 2 parts. We're going to have like 2 sub-activities over here. The first one is really easy. You're simply going to the slide number 49, and you will find over there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, 5 different small paragraphs or bodies of text. And the idea is that you are going to classify each one into any of the categories or any of the subcategories that I have just explained. Okay. So probably each one of them is a different one. So the first one is prosopography, and the second one is cytopia, and the third one is caricature. Or maybe we have repetitions. Probably the first 2 are prosopographies, and the other 3 are caricatures. So you have to just read them, analyze the somehow concepts of each one of these categories, and classify them. Okay. As simple as just saying the first text is a prosopography, period, right? No more. You don't have to do anything else. So this is more a comprehensive and classifying exercise than anything productive. I mean, in terms of production, like you don't have to write a lot. Just identify that, okay? So that will be the number 1. Now, number 2, it is really a pity because this is a game that I had designed with the help of something that I found online some time ago. And normally when we do this presentially, and there are groups, and we have a little contest over there, but over here it's going to be a little bit difficult, so I have to change it to make it a little bit different. Okay, so if you take a look at the slides from the number 50 until the number 59, you will find some images. These images are zoomed objects. I mean, the camera is really, really close, and sometimes it's difficult to, know exactly what we're dealing with. Okay, so what you're going to do is to, first of all, try to guess what is the object, and there is like a clue on top of the photograph, right? There's like some sort of a clue that it's a word game that would let you know what is it. For sure, if you go online and look for it, you will find immediately the object. I'm going to give you the chance to have some fun with it. If in the end, like, you want to copy the thing and just go directly to the object, well, be my guess. But let's try it on the other way first. Again, if for example you did not guess the object, you thought it was an object, but actually on the source is different, no worries, that is not really the point. So let me give you an example with the first one. The number 50 seems to have like a maroon thing, something brown in there, a little bit hairy, and on top it says, this is a juicy one, right? So that is actually the little stick of an apple, right? So if you look online, you will see that is a magnified version of an apple. So what I'm going to ask you to do is that you take each one of these things and use a different subcategory for each one. Write a very short text, maybe 2 sentences, 1 sentence, but the idea is that it has one subcategory. Now, for example, the first one is an object, right? But let's imagine that I want to do a prosopography with it. Well, I imagine something additional. I can say, and the old, dirty, tall man was eating an apple with his toothless mouth. Prosopography. You see? I use the resource of the image, put it into another context, and created a prosopography that is really short, with a sentence with 2 or 3 descriptions that are physical. Okay? So that is what you have to do. You simply do that. You go into the next one. I mean, you don't have to do the number 50 because I already helped you with that. So from the 51 to the 59, you are going to select a different subcategory. Eventually, they will repeat because there are only 5, 6. So let's start, for example, with prosopography, or with caricature, or with whatever you want. But the idea is that by the end, you have used all of them. Okay? So hopefully it is clear. That is what you have to do. We are going to do these in groups of maximum 4 people. Okay? As usual. Please, if you want to work in groups of 3 or 2 or 1, that's up to you. Remember that if you're going to work collectively, so everyone requires to upload the same activity. Also remember to write the names of everybody on each paper, because sometimes I think that it's an individual thing, and then that I find another one that is exactly the same, and that makes me waste time when I am grading. Finally, remember that normally for these collective assignments, I only grade. I grade everybody, but I only make comments on one of the persons. So I will appreciate if you can just share the comments with the partners, because the other partners will see only the grade. Okay. So hopefully that's clear enough. And that is the assignment number 1. Thank you very much. Have fun with the job. Hugs and bye bye.